Hello everyone, welcome back to Clatterworld and welcome to beginning another year of CLAT preparation. Since this is mostly the time when you guys get done with your 11th standard exams and delve into CLAT preparation and focusing solely on your CLAT preparation, now might be a good time to discuss one of the most concerning things in your CLAT prep journey, and that is books. Yes, even though CLAT does not have a syllabus like CBSE does or ICSE does, but CLAT does have sections for which you need to prepare. Even though the syllabus is endless, the book lists are endless, and there's so much more material and resources in today's time than it was 5 years ago. Even then, you need to figure out your own set of resources unique to you, suitable for you, and suitable for your strengths and weaknesses, so as to know exactly what to focus on in this very long but at the same time very limited period of time of the next 8 to 9 months. So when we talk about our research, books play a very important role, and there are a lot of books that are available in the market. However, if we look at CLAT 2025, we can all sense a change in the pattern of questions. CLAT is growing to be more unpredictable every passing year. So what does that mean? That means that we need to be more aware, more cautious of what we read, from where we read, and for how long or how much time do we spend on a particular syllabus or part of area. Now, in this scenario, our choice of books plays a crucial role. So in this video, I'm not going to discuss just any set list of books that you can find on a basic search from Google, because trust me, there's so many books that people recommend, sometimes for CLAT and sometimes even CAT books, GMAT books, solely for CLAT preparation. So we are also going to discuss some of the alternatives to these huge books. I'm sure everybody has heard of a book called R.S. Agrawal or something called Preparation of Logical Reasoning for GMAT. Now these are books by the size of which will scare you, especially when you know that you have to right now maybe write your 11th standard exams and then focus on your 12th prep and also your CLAT prep. So in this video, I shall not only cover a list of books but also some of the alternatives that you can start with in order to help your CLAT prep. For example, some of you might have heard of this book called Word Power Made Easy for vocabulary. Now this is a very prominent book by Norman Lewis, and trust me, it is an amazing book. However, when you have a very limited period of time, say 8 to 9 months, and you have to cover 5 sections, and some of you are not even exposed to those sections yet, how do you cover such a thick book? That is why it is necessary to find good alternatives. And if you look at English section of 2025 CLAT, you would see that there were almost 5 questions directly asked from vocabulary. So it's not that we can just discount the importance of vocabulary. If there are 5 questions being asked from a particular area of a section, that means that area is very, very important. So what do we really do? Let's look at viable books that are probably used by everyone for CLAT prep and then figure out what books are most suitable for you and what books you really need to study. Some of you might already be good at English and might not require a lot of help with, say, grammar or English, but maybe you have no idea about maths in CLAT prep journey. So that might be a sign that you don't really need to go into Wren and Martin for grammar. You can completely skip that and rely on your coaching material and your mocks, whereas focusing on several books for maths or quantitative techniques. So let's start with English section. Now, before finalizing your list of books, you need to understand what all is entailed within that section. So English is not just about reading comprehension. It includes certain things. These are vocabulary, comprehension skills, your analytical skills, grammar and critical reasoning skills. Yes, critical reasoning is also a part of English with respect to understanding of passages, understanding main arguments and central argument of the passage. Now what happens if you skip any of these sections? Trust me, it's going to cause a havoc in your preparation. If you skip an area as important as vocabulary, you might not really understand the passage in itself so as to even identify and answer other questions. So let's target each of these areas and figure out books. Firstly, starting with comprehension based books, because comprehension is clearly a huge aspect of CLAT now. It is part of legal, logic and even English. So first book would be VARC for CAT. This is a book solely focusing on comprehensions. Yes, it is for an exam like CAT, which students mostly who are graduates and much older than you, right? But it is a very good book and it exposes you to difficult English based passages which allow you to solve easier passages which are likely to be asked in your CLAT exam. Just as everybody says that if you prepare for a much more difficult thing, even the most difficult things in exam will seem very simpler and easier to you. However, please note, and this applies to all the books and sections discussed in this video, that you cannot proceed with any of the books without discussing or going through previous year papers and questions. Just like any other exam, CLAT might be unpredictable, but it is also mostly predictable in a certain sense. And you can only gauge this predictability once you are done and dusted with previous year question papers. Your preparation will forever be incomplete if you're not referring to the past papers. So make sure you refer to it and only then figure out, even in the most difficult of books, what is the maximum difficulty level that you should target. So your prep continues to not only make you smarter and be able to solve more difficult questions, but also is relevant to your preparation. For vocabulary, as I had already mentioned at the start of this video, that Word Power Made Easy is a very good book. You may not be able to cover the book from the beginning to the end, but it might be a good idea to at least cover chapters covering prefix and suffix of the most common words used. You might have to skip the word bank at the end of the book. I would suggest go through that also, but if you can't do that, at least know the basic prefix and suffix so as to be able to identify the types of words that are used in the passage and what are they related to, what roots are they related to, what prefix are they related to. For example, if you know what does ego mean, you will be able to identify the difference between egoist, egotist, egomaniac, and so on and so forth, something that this book is very good at explaining. However, if you genuinely have no time to cover this book, as I had already said, you might not be able to, then you don't need to buy this book or pick this book up. You can just try and figure out a way to cover vocabulary during your preparation for other subjects. For example, always making a point to note down words while reading newspapers, while reading anything, even if you're CBSE or ICSE books or novels. Again, another way of learning vocabulary might be to focus on mocks and figuring out all the words that you don't know and should ideally know about. And maybe just keep an eye out for difficult words or unusual words that you might not know but are good to know. Now that we are done with reading comprehension and covering basic vocabulary, let's move on to speed reading and reading the passages fast in the exam. Now, I know that you might be waiting for a book that will help you open your eyes and make you read fast in a day or so, but trust me, there's nothing like this. I'm sorry to disappoint. Speed reading is something that you cannot learn in a day or so or even a month. It is a skill that takes time to build, and the best way to approach that would be to read a lot. Get into the habit of reading a newspaper day in and day out whenever you get the time. Keep reading something. Just like I know it's your default way to start scrolling on Instagram or start listening to music the moment you get a chance, why don't you replace it with reading for a bit? And you might actually enjoy it. Coming to the next section in this video, that is current affairs and GK. Remember to never call this section just current affairs, because it's so much more than just current affairs, and that is a mistake that students make. If you change the phrase of the subject, you're likely to miss out on the phrase that you just completely skipped. So GK is not just current affairs, it's static GK, it's international affairs, and a lot more than that. Because in the 2025 exam itself, there was a whole passage from static GK. I remember it revolved around World War I or something related to the Jallianwala Bagh attack, which was in the history. So that what else do you need in order to realize that static GK is equally important to cover? Now, many mentors, including me, would recommend this book called Lucents for static GK. However, it is a very, very big book, and you probably won't have time to cover it from head to toe. So a good idea might be to figure out most common areas of static GK from which the CLAT examiner can ask you questions from. For example, I think it is very obvious that CLAT is not going to ask you a question from very, very ancient GK, say the Rajput Empire, the Maurya Empire. So it might be a good idea to narrow down the areas in static GK and only cover those areas from books like Lucent. Apart from that, it can be a good idea to cover GK especially static GK, from your respective coaching materials. For example, Clatapult has its own list of books and materials prepared exclusively catering to CLAT, and these are pretty comprehensive with respect to something like static GK, which does not form a major component of the exam, but it's not a small component either. Now, books for current affairs. There's no one book that can help you with current affairs. I know so much of CLAT preparation is just vagueness and there's no one specific source. However, for current affairs, it's a good idea to definitely refer to monthly compendiums of at least one coaching center, or if not a coaching center, of any organization that's making good monthly compendiums covering all the major and vast news. Secondly, it's a good idea to cover some section of newspapers, at least editorial, so that you know what scholars are discussing and what CLAT consortium is likely to pick from the newspaper. Thirdly, it's a good idea to get into at least one or two websites on the internet, say Drishti IAS or Cloud Affairs or GK Today, which are very fast in compiling current affairs and making them palatable to students your age. Some good newspapers to cover for GK could probably be the Hindu, Indian Express and Times of India. If you are a beginner, it might be a good idea to not delve into the Hindu from the very beginning. Take a month or so acclimatizing yourself to Indian Express or the Times of India, which have easier to read English, and then promote yourself to a newspaper like the Hindu. Now, I'm not suggesting you to take the subscription right away. Get a newspaper here and there, and if the newspaper is in front of your eyes, you're likely to read it, and give it a shot. Give it a fair shot at that. Give it a week or so and see if it's working out for yourself. And secondly, you don't need to just read the newspaper, you need to read it very strategically. There are various videos on YouTube and on this channel with respect to how to read a newspaper, and once you are familiar with the way of reading a newspaper, you can make your own notes so that whatever you are reading is not at the same time going out of your head. You are able to remember and memorize what you are reading and summarize them in a place which is good for revision later on. Some monthly magazines or compendiums that are publicly available on the internet include Vision IAS, Drishti IAS and some other IAS websites. The reason why I'm referring to IAS and UPSC monthly compendiums is because they are very detailed. They cater to students who need to form their own opinion, so that's why they are mostly in a passage format. They are not MCQ based, and they help you gain an opinion of yourself, which is what CLAT is doing these days. So these are most relevant for you right now. You might need to make a boundary to yourself as to how deep you want to go into a news, because these UPSC aspirants need to prepare a lot more in depth than CLAT requires. But the areas to refer would be quite relevant to UPSC. And one of the last sources that I personally recommend to students for GK is solving a lot of questions and MCQs, because GK is very quick to learn when it's questioned, and this is very obvious. If you ask me what is the capital of Azerbaijan, I wouldn't know, but if you tell me it's Baku, I will remember it forever because it's such a unique name and a unique country. So that's why keep practicing GK a lot, keep questioning between your friends. It's a good idea to practice GK in groups as well, because a lot of students prefer discussing it amongst their friends. Since GK is so lengthy, people make notes of different months and then exchange, and it essentially reduces time and increases efficiency. Moving to the third section of the paper, and probably the lengthiest section in the paper usually, and that is legal reasoning. Now this is a section that you either love or hate. There's no in between. And this is why it's very important to make sure that you know how to score well in this section, regardless of your love or hate relationship with it. Legal reasoning constitutes the most heavy component of the paper. It is one of the most scoring sections as well. And in case you have same marks with other students, legal reasoning is the section that helps serve as a tiebreaker in order to decide who gets to what college. So I guess I don't need to stress more on the importance of this section. Now coming to how to prepare for this. Earlier there was a very popular book called Legal Aptitude by A.P. Bharadwaj, which used to be very helpful in preparation of legal reasoning. However, pattern changed in 2020 and it is drastically changed now that the book might not be as relevant. However, I would still suggest you guys to refer to that book in order to acclimatize yourself to what exactly is legal reasoning, especially if you're just starting out with your CLAT prep. You probably have no idea what legal knowledge is. you think it might be a lot of rote learning, but it's far from that. Legal reasoning is a lot more reasoning than learning law. So it's a good idea to start with this book to learn the basic concepts. Secondly, I would strongly recommend improving your basic concepts in legal, because legal is not anymore just an MCQ based pattern of questions which you can just memorize and tick mark in the exam. For legal, you need to really understand the logic behind the law, and you really need to understand how to tackle it, because it is reasoning but not just reasoning yet. So a good idea to clear your concepts would be staying in touch with current affairs of legal on an everyday basis from the websites like SCC or Live Law, or even newspapers like The Hindu, because they cover law in detail. And the more you read law, the more you are able to identify things that look very similar on the face of it are really not similar. And understanding law would help you identify the differences between these and help you get better at legal reasoning, obviously. Personally, I have been teaching legal at Clatterpool for over 2 years now, and what I have seen is that most of the passages that are asked in the exam directly relate to something or the other covered in class, because we mostly cover recent current affairs based passages in class. Now that is why I've realized that the more I make my students read current legal affairs, the more they're likely to know what's being asked in the exam. And even though you can solve a completely new passage that you have been just introduced to in the past 10 seconds in the exam, it is a good idea to know it beforehand, so that when you have produced a passage in the exam which you have already seen at some stage in your preparation, you are likely to be quicker and more correct in answering the questions. Now moving to the fourth section in the exam, and that is logical reasoning. Students often call it critical reasoning, and this is a mistake that I realized I should not make anymore, because in CLAT 2025, that is the exam held in December 2024, logical reasoning actually got questions from analytical reasoning, which is very different from critical reasoning. And that's why logic is no more just about reading or solving critical reasoning questions. It is so much more about dealing with logic as a whole, including analytical parts of it and critical reading based parts of it. So this just gives us a very important lesson that understanding and preparing only for comprehension based critical reasoning questions would not be enough. We need to focus equally on analytical reasoning questions like we focus for an exam like ALIT or SLAT. So one of my top 2 recommendations for logical reasoning, our first one is A Modern Approach to Logical Reasoning by R.S. Agrawal, which is a very good book. It's a very thick book and a very heavy book at that. So you need to practice some parts of each chapter in order to just get an idea. It probably has 10 questions of the same type repeating. So it might be a good idea to cover 3 or 4 of each of them. So just to know what exactly is that type of questions and then move on to the next one. You don't need to cover the book from the beginning to the end. And the second book is Analytical Reasoning by M.K. Pandey. Personally, this was my Bible for analytical reasoning during my CLAT prep. It was something that helped me so much more than I could have imagined, and my logic has actually hit off because of this book. So I cannot stress enough on this recommendation. Now moving on to the last subject in this exam, and that is quantitative techniques. I know a lot of you might feel like skipping the video right now because who even likes maths, but that's not right. Maths is equally important part of CLAT now, and I have a whole video as to how maths is also very important, and it makes a huge difference with respect to which college you might end up into. So let's not ignore it and figure out ways to get better at it. Now thankfully, maths questions here in CLAT are not as difficult as the ones asked in IIT JEE or even in your class 12 standard exams. So one of the most common books that I personally used was Data Interpretation by R.S. Agrawal. This is a really exhaustive book with respect to all things data protection and comprehension based maths questions. It is essentially meant for CAT exam, and that's why you need to be careful as to what extent you are going in your CLAT prep journey and where you need to stop and put a stop. Some other publications which make really good books on quantitative aptitude relate to Arihant Publications, which has really good books in order to deal with arithmetic mathematic questions which are questions just based on MCQs, which are probably asked in A-Lit these days, but also are part of CLAT exam as well. Right, so these were some of my recommendations for all the 5 sections in CLAT. I hope this was helpful for you to figure out what books you need in your journey according to your strengths and weaknesses. See you guys in the next video. Thank you.